My father put me in a car. He was very pissed. He was very pissed. He put me in a car and he was driving at such a high speed, as in Uti, he does not mind if that car can just collide and capsize or anything. He was driving where? To Mamelodi. To do what? To dump me.
Welcome to the Safe Space Chats podcast with Madam Speaker. Hi, my name is Perseverance Maremeni, also known as Madam Speaker, also known as the CEO of Self-Love. On this podcast, we are creating a safe space for ourselves through heart-to-heart conversations, encouraging others to do the same. Just because we don't believe in the same things, we don't like the same things, we're not interested in the same things, it does not mean that we cannot coexist. So this is a safe space for you to exist even when you are different and unique. Yawazalwani, welcome to the Safe Space Chats podcast with Madam Speaker. My name is Perseverance Maremeni, also known as Madam Speaker, also known as the CEO of Self-Love. I am not going alone today. As usual, I have somebody with me and she's going to introduce herself. Hi, Sisi.
Hi, Madam Speaker. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. My name is Eleanor Moshidi. I come from Madam Speaker's group.
Okay.
I have my own podcast, but then currently here, I came through Madam Speaker's support group.
Sure, that is a very powerful movement that we have there.
You're doing the Lord's work over there, believe you me. You might not see it, but you are really changing people's lives out there and saving lives while at it.
Thank you so much. For those who don't know about the Madam Speaker community group, I actually started a community group because it was not possible for me to actually reach or for everybody to reach me. So I had to create this WhatsApp group so that people can at least help each other while I'm not available. And that community group has grown so much and people have been able to help one another. So you're more than welcome to actually join the WhatsApp group if you want to also get help. And the number is going to appear on the screen that you can use to actually join the WhatsApp group and you can be part of the family. But then going back to you, tell us about yourself.
I'm a mother of two. I have a 22-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Okay.
And currently, I'm just a mother trying my level best. I think that's the best way to describe myself. But just a normal mother trying my level best and trying to get my boys to be the best men that they could be in this cruel society.
Sure. So just briefly, can you tell us what made you want to join the Madam Speaker community group?
Okay. What made me want to join the Madam Speaker group, it's like one day I was watching one of your episodes. I just forgot which episode it was, but then you happened to advise a lady that we were interviewing at that point in time to go over to your support group because you were unable to give a counseling session, and you thought that beyond you having done the podcast, you thought that, no, even though we did the podcast, I am not satisfied that you're going to go with those wounds because I felt that your wounds are still raw. I feel you need counseling. Please go over to my WhatsApp group. I will do it myself, but then I feel those women will do a much better job.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
So it just so happened that when I was watching that particular episode, I was going manic myself because I'm bipolar.
Okay.
And I was off meds for a number of years.
Okay.
I made a decision, I think it was 2016, to take myself off meds without doctor's advice. And everything was going fine. But then at that point, I was actually manic because of a lot of things are going on in my life. So as I was watching, I decided to take the advice we were giving to that lady. I decided to use it. Sure. I went to your bio. I found a WhatsApp number there. I took that number. I connected to it. It was somewhere around midnight. Funny enough, there were people there. Where when I just said hi, they said hi. And immediately I told them my problem, and they just advised me, please go to the clinic. You can't just be sitting around. You're putting your child in danger and all those things.
Yeah.
And that is how then I got to go back to the clinic, saw a doctor, got back on my bipolar meds. You see, and also it was also a learning curve for some of the women, because some were like, no, but we thought bipolar is like, I'm always angry. I thought that is what bipolar is. We did not know that it's actually a sickness, and I was like, being angry is the least of my problems.
Yeah.
My problem is when they say I'm going manic, it means ukuthi now I'm going excessive to what is. If I'm angry, then it means I don't even call it anger, because uzongbona nokungbona, I pace. Angazi if you have ever seen somebody who's not mentally well. I literally pace. So even when I am sorrowful, it's like when uzofila ukuthi but is sweet. Why is she
making a big deal out of it?
Yeah, abe namatantrums for 2 years, but it's just sweet. And it's like you can't even talk me out of it, because mfuni sweet and ain't nothing gonna. And sometimes it can be happiness.
Yeah.
But then happiness that becomes very dangerous. Like you do things that are very careless. Let's say maybe you can actually drive a sports car and actually you can't even drive. Like you do things they are not right, and you can't even stop yourself because they look right in that moment.
Yeah.
But then once you are medicated, you are able to bring everything to center. And as everything now speaks, I can still be angry, but then now I know what Madam Speaker did not really. Yes, but then I can actually address it by just telling Madam Speaker, I did not like what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see.
So what got you to leave the medication in the beginning?
I'm spiritually gifted.
Okay.
And but then at the point where I stopped taking my meds, I did not know that.
Okay.
Things were going on at that point. I was on medication, but I had a problem. I was sleepwalking.
Okay.
I was sleepwalking, and there were other spiritual things that were happening.
Okay.
That were very scary. Like I ended up blaming the meds, blaming those things on the meds, because my sleepwalking was not such that I will just wake up and walk to somewhere and somebody will just say, but she's ulele, mjikise nabiyele khaya. No. It's like I'm very reserved.
Okay.
I'm isolated. I don't have friends. I never talk to anybody. I think the correct term for it is socially awkward. I keep excessively to myself.
Yeah.
But then when I wake up, now you will swear ukuthi socialite. Abanye even says they saw me dancing where. It's like angazi, I become something like ukuthi. Most of the time, I'm even scared of people having to explain to me what is it that they saw. Because I become so embarrassed, and because you really do not know ukuthi wenzeni uzinike emadodeni wenzeni. And most of the time, people. What used to scare me is that people did not tell me.
Okay.
They will tell my baby daddy, because we were still together.
Okay.
They will tell him instead, ukuthi something is not okay ngomuntu wakho, because when you are around, she never talks to us. She acts like she doesn't know us. But once you leave, woman is like everybody's friends. She comes to our places. She wants to watch TV.
So during
and
the
all
time
those
when you
things.
were doing all of these things, you are not conscious of them?
I'm not conscious of them.
Okay. Even during the day?
That's the scary part. Uguti, when they say to him, Uguti, when you are not around, the only time when he's not around me is because he used to work for a retail shop, and that retail shop, he had to be there between 2 a.m. in the morning and 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So after around 11, he's ukhona ekhaya.
Yeah.
So when somebody says, after you leave, after I leave, when? Because by the time I leave, umuntu lo ngimshiye alele,
Yes.
and there's no way. By the time ngibuya ngimthola alokwalele, unless she went to work.
Okay.
So what exactly do you mean? And then magaza mathi uzibani bani bathi bebanawe kuphi kuphi ngithi uyangihlolela mina, and it's like, why uphika? Why are you lying about something that you did?
Did that affect your relationship with this man?
Weird enough, he knew that I'm spiritually gifted.
Okay.
I didn't know it. He knew that I had a sleepwalking problem. I didn't.
Okay.
So to an extent, actually me leaving the meds was actually his advice.
Okay.
Because he did not tell me you're spiritually gifted or anything. He just said, please stop taking these meds. Zikuze wena, you know ukuthi wenza izinto wrong. I'm not gonna come to work la ngizolamula izimpi zakho, because when you decided ukulwa nabo makhelwane bonke la because uyibova, zikuze, you can't do that.
So after you stopped taking the meds, did it go away, the sleepwalking and everything, for the time being?
It did not go away.
Okay.
Instead we started ukuphila angazi ngokuthi besiphila njani, yes. When we slept, and especially uma yena azohamba, he will take amabhavu and surround the bed with baths full of water all around the bed, so that when I get off the bed, then I will fall into the water. And at some point, you just have to wake up and see what you're doing.
And that worked? It didn't work?
It did not. It did not. To an extent, where we are staying, there was a timeline which he forced we have to now move away, because he was scared I will end up getting hit by people. One, it was close to the hostel. Because one day you will walk into the hostel because
you
decided those guys are your friends or whatever it is that you do when you're sleeping. Or two, people will hate you because they will call you a witch.
Yes.
Because things that you're doing are questionable. And the reason he was saying that he wanted to move me from where we were staying is because on a particular day, what happened is that I called him, and according to me, when I looked at the time, it was 5 o'clock, Then I called him, and I was very, very panicked, And I was like, somebody broke into our place. And he was like, who broke into our place? And I was like, come see, come home and see what is here. And he was like, okay, no, you tell me what is there. And I was like, somebody broke into our place and threw garbage into our place. And he was like, somebody did what? And I was like, serious, somebody brought garbage into our place. And he was like, please go sleep. And I was like, no, you don't understand. And there's a river in the house. And he was like, there's a what? And I was like, there's a river in the house. And he was like, go sleep, just sleep. And I could not sleep. And at that time, somebody's knocking. I'm that panicked because there's somebody who's knocking at the door. I don't
know.
A dumping site.
Okay.
You know, a township dumping site, as you can imagine it. As in, seriously, literally, the dumping site was inside my place, because we were living in a rented room. So on the floor, when I look, the floor is like navy blue. It's illuminated. And when I put my feet, it's like there's water. This water is splashing, you know. So I ran to the switch. When I put on the switch, that is when now I noticed the madlangi inside the house.
Was it like an actual thing, or was it just you? Were you seeing it?
It's an actual thing.
Okay.
That was an actual thing.
Okay.
There was madlangi. So there was only one explanation. I went outside.
Okay.
I took the dustbin of the flats. I brought it back and emptied the dustbins inside my sleeping pad and took back. There's no
other explanation.
It's either somebody very wicked did it or I did it.
Yeah.
But the door is locked.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who has the key.
Sure.
Because if somebody broke in, they should have left the door open and did whatever.
So how do you then move on from that?
He moved me from that place because I had to just to finish this one, I ended up having to clean that place and make sure that nobody sees. And it's a flat, mind you. That place was a flat. Make sure that none of the other people who are staying in that flat see me doing what I was doing. And it was not only that, it was the garbage from the dustbins, meaning name bethu and all those things. Paratendlin, mind you. There's even actual excrement. Ngama plastic I too shop right. I still remember that. It was like seated there. And I'm like asking myself, did you go to the toilet and empty the toilet? And if you went to the toilet, do you need it? Because it's like this comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
It can't be you, because if you do, then
that's a lot.
We are worried because it's like 2 ShopRite bags. Okay, fine. I took even that excrement, put it in the dustbins. Because now I'm a thief in the night because I have to go steal the dustbins back, those roller dustbins. I have to go steal them. Ngibuye nazo, ngize clean, take them back downstairs, and there's no lifts. It's stairs. I'm a stairs. I ended up even spraining my ankle in the process.
Yeah.
So when baby daddy comes back, then he becomes like, no man, because now he wants to check, let's go back to what happened. What were you saying in the morning? Then I tell him. And he's like, no, it's impossible. You imagined it. Like you are saying now, is it an actual thing or were you dreaming?
Now, because you've already cleaned up the place, it seems like it was not even there to begin with.
Everything is like moja.
Okay.
I cleaned it well.
Okay.
Took out ingubo and everything. Now it looks like I just woke up and decided to do a spring cleaning. And he's like, were you dreaming or? And I'm like, no. It actually happened.
Okay.
And he's like, no, it's impossible. He says, when? And I'm like, I called you. And he's like, I told you go back to sleep. And I was like, no, nehotsile. And he was like, Debo, what time did you call me? And I'm like, 3 o'clock. And he was like, no. I was like, no, it was around 6. But then he was like, no, you called me 3 o'clock. It was exactly 3 o'clock when you called me. And I was like, no, it was 6 o'clock, because I know when I slept it was 7. And he was like,
so then how do you guys move on from that?
From there, he decided to go to know uzolimaza abantu, because he's so loving and everything. He decided to go to know uzolimaza abantu, and let's move from here. That is when we got to buy a stand, emuloto, at least here. It's your own place.
Yes, you can do whatever.
You can do whatever. You want to take a broom and go fly.
Yeah.
You know, then you can do that. But then he then started teaching me uphahla.
Okay.
You know, because I kept on, all of a sudden, I now started wanting to know, how do you phahla? And he was like, you don't know
So he was more familiar with this than you were?
he's a rural boy.
Okay.
Ke ngwana mo Strolos.
Okay.
Unlike me, I come from the township, born and bred in Mamelodi, and I come from a staunch Christian family. Ngikhulele eWesili. Uyawuzwisisa ngikhuliswe umama wesambatho, umama umanyano. So those things, they do not exist at all. And growing up, my grandmother told us there's no such a thing as witchcraft. Excuse ya motlapa sa nyako bereka, then we'll tell you that person.
And you took it like that. Okay, before we get to what then happens when you get to be introduced to life yao phahla and all that, I want us to take it all the way back to when you started having your bipolar, when you were diagnosed for the first time. What were the sequences of events that led to that?
Okay. The sequences of events that led to that were almost the same.
Okay.
More or less.
How old were you when all of these things started?
No, I got diagnosed with bipolar as an adult.
Okay.
I think it was 2011.
Okay. As a child, you never had any mental issues or anything like that?
I think I had.
Okay.
But then it was not addressed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because I always used to be, whatever weirdness that was there, it was there since I was born.
Okay.
Yeah,
so the sleepwalking was there even when you were still a child?
No, it was nightmares.
Okay.
It was nightmares. The sleepwalking, I never knew until the people started complaining to baby daddy.
Okay, wait. Let's take it all the way back to you growing up as a child. I think maybe then it's going to give me a bit of context so that I can see how did we arrive here to this point.
Okay.
You growing up as a child, where do you grow up? How is life like when you are growing up? Which leads to you.
Yes, I think that actually is going to tie everything nicely for you. I was born to a woman called Eleanor Moshidi. Okay. Bully had 2 kids.
Okay.
I'm not counting myself.
Okay.
He had my sister and my brother. And I don't know what life she led, but then she really needed to house these 2 kids, and she was going to do everything that she could to give her kids the best life that she could.
Yes.
So as a result, she worked hard. She was into clothing and textiles, apparently designing and khoroka and all of those things. She worked hard, made sure that she could buy Banabahahe a house.
Okay.
But then there was a problem with her being ambitious. She was ambitious and a go-getter and all of those things. All of my grandmother's kids are, by the way. Okay. My grandmother's kids are go-getters. They are all fireballs. Yeah? So ambitious as she was, there was a problem back then that she was actually a minor according to the law.
Okay.
So she can't really go out there and buy cars and buy houses.
Oh, it was
and
during
all
that
those
time
things.
where for you to be able to buy those things, you need to have a husband.
You need to have a husband. Okay. You understand?
Sure.
So I am not sure if that's the reason she got married.
Okay.
I have no idea how she came to be. But then I know she bought her own house.
Yeah.
But in order for her to buy her own house, she had to have a husband.
Okay.
Yeah, because the husband can get a house, she can't.
Okay.
So that way she was able now, she had a home which had a mother and a father, and now her kids were safe.
Okay.
Which is how I got to be born into that setup.
Okay.
However, story has it, because I don't have my own recollection. Unfortunately, my mom died when I was still young, around 5, 6.
Okay.
Story has it that immediately after I was born, life was moja between mommy, daddy, and
the kids.
Their little family.
Yeah.
Then I got born. Once I got born, daddy turned into Islwani.
Okay.
he started to viciously beat my mom. And he was not only beating mom, he was beating mom and the kids.
Okay.
So there's even stories of ukuthi there's a timeline ukuthi my sister being the firstborn, there was a timeline ukuthi uke waphuka isandla because my father smashed her into a wall.
Okay.
So it means ukuthi the environment was
toxic and
was
abusive.
hectically toxic. I can imagine. I can't even imagine actually what it is that they lived around.
Okay.
And it was not just my sister was having it, my brother was also getting it.
Yeah.
And apparently my mom passed on due to arthritis.
Okay.
So when we're gonna look at medical records and you ask people what is this,
The cause of death, it will be arthritis. Okay.
But then there's a problem, yoguti. Actually, she was killed by her husband
because of the underlying issues of the abuse.
She was being beaten. She was being beaten even on her deathbed. Still, when she could not wake up and help herself, she was still getting battered by her husband to an extent like her neighbors had to call her mom and say, if you don't come take your child, you're gonna come collect a corpse.
Sure.
So my grams had to go and collect her daughter and the kids, and that is how my mom passed on in her mom's hands.
Okay.
So
by the time your grandmother went to rescue your mom, it was a bit too late.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're looking at medical records, it's arthritis. She was bedridden already by the time her mom fetched her. Meaning it was only a matter of time. She was just nursing her to usher her to the next phase.
Okay.
Being to Ngalin.
Yeah, on the other side.
Yes.
So then how is life after your mom passing like that?
Okay, then when my mom passed, we find ourselves now Grams has custody of the kids by default. It's not even ukuthi I don't think there was any court or anything. Angisho niyazi ukuthi ngesintu there's that thing yokuthi you have kids. Automatically, when you pass on, automatically your mom has the kids instead of their dad.
Yeah. Back then. Now the dads can fight for the kids.
Yes. So I really don't think it was something it was negotiated. It was just that after leso bana bamu, then bana basaile feel.
Okay.
But then now we got to have a challenge because you must know Guti, now at that point my grandmother is pained.
Okay.
My grandmother is angry.
Yeah.
My grandmother wants to lash out at someone. No?
She feels like a child was stolen from her.
Well, I'm a baby at that time. I don't know anything. And mind you, my mom has passed on and nobody's even bothering telling me, hey, by the way, you don't have a mother.
Yeah.
Everything is going on. I am there, but then I'm not part of the equation. So she wants to lash out and everything. She fights however she wants to fight and everything. But then she lost.
So who is she lashing out on?
She's lashing out at the man who she blames for taking
your father,
her child. Yes. To a point like Iluguti. According to others, they say my father did not bury my mom.
Okay.
But then according to my father, he was there. He was chased out.
Okay.
My father says he was there. He was chased out. And to a degree, I can believe him. Because I know my grams. I know you don't mess with my grams. If you want to live long, don't mess with my grandmother. So if my dad says, no, I actually did try, but then I got chased out, there's a possibility he might not be lying. So what happened to Guti, then I turned 10. On a certain day, mina ngiyadlala ngasendlini. Uma ngidlala, my sister came in. Kanti my sister fought with her friends, and her friends ended up saying to her, ukuthi, we did not tell you to go eat your mom.
Sure.
So she came back crying. Ne? I saw that she's crying when she came in. She sat with my brother on the table so I can hear when they are busy talking. So it tells my brother, hore, no, nere dlala netball, and then so and so armonare yena agathanga bona mina ngihambe ngiyodluma. So she's crying. But then for Mina, I'm laughing ukuthi she's gonna come back from work. She's coming back from work.
So the whole time you thought that your mom was still alive?
Yes.
She was at work?
She's at work.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking, no, mommy's gonna come back from work.
Because nobody explained to you what your mom passed.
Yes.
Okay.
Then ke busy ke swinga ka mtlasa di tafola if you sa re gopola di tafola tsela ka mtlasa tlo kry this thing, so I'm busy swinging underneath the table, so I'm like shouting to her, no, don't worry, mama is gonna come back one day. Nathi sizoba tshela izinto abasitshela zona when mommy comes back to work. Then my sister's response was, how stupid are you really?
Sure.
That you don't know that actually mom is dead. Can't you see? Believe you me, she did not have to explain what is death. She did not have. It was like in that moment, in that essence, in that 1 second, I knew. What?
That's when you realized that your mom is gone.
This is the betrayal, ukuthi ngihlezi nani la. And none of you even think ukuthi I deserve to know.
So how did it happen that you didn't know at all? Like, is it because when she was buried, you were still too young to remember and nobody brought it up to remind you that your mom is late?
It goes to that thing that we're trying to answer of the bipolar. Actually, how did you get to be diagnosed?
Yes.
I have my brain ingenye indlela. When something traumatic happens, my brain erases it. Even now, it still happens. Even now,
I know those.
I can lose an entire yesterday. You can talk to me uthi uyakhumbula besise Sense Studios, and I'll be like zange.
Okay.
And you'll be like, kanti umuntu lo njani? It will be because probably something very traumatic happened there, and my brain decided to
block it out,
flush it. So I'm not sure whether I really don't remember the funeral or
your brain just flushed it out.
Yes.
Okay.
It's because my brain just automatically does that.
Okay. And also, your siblings were not aware of this thing that you have, that your brain is capable of flushing out things.
Even now, you'll be surprised, but even now, no one in my family actually knows me. All they know is my name. That's who she is.
Sure.
And don't worry, Unaldi tantrums. If you see her tantruming,
leave her alone.
Yeah, she'll come back.
Sure. So then how do you move on from you just realizing, because by then your brain is not blocking out the fact that you know that your mom is not there anymore.
Yeah, because now it's the reality of the situation. Now mom is not there.
Yes.
Now, was ukuthi bengahluphi, bengumntwana all sweet and everything, bubbly, stoked, energetic, as you can know, all 10-year-olds. Ne? Now manje is like, if mom is dead, where's dad? Because mina lezi zokuthi papa ke Mike Tyson, I don't know that. Mina, the dad that I know, my dad is a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after your mom passed, was there a relationship between you guys and your dad?
I've never seen him, and I never questioned because they are at work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for Mina, it's like akunandaba. bakhona, they are at work, they're gonna come back. Because every time ho thoma yanong uhlihla bana ka ngwana ba re, hey, ba ko mmerekong man. Then o biela ko lining. Wa bona? So now I want to know what
Where's the dad?
where is dad? Yeah, which is where I think I started acting up.
Okay.
Yeah, and ngapha I'm having a problem of bedwetting and heavy nightmares, like heavy nightmares. Wabona, every night it's either I am falling into water, wabona, like water, and not just a puddle. It's as if I'm falling into an ocean and I'm sinking, or I am somewhere in some hole just sitting. So because of those dreams, every time those dreams start, I bedwet. I would say when I was bedwetting, bengizizwa, but then I thought ngena emanzini. I think I was around 13. I woke up, I had messed my bed as usual, and my grandmother said, yeah, Bona, there's time today. You're washing your own blankets. And you're not even using soap. But then, as I go, they're going to be spink and spank, and they're not going to smell. Angisho ntombazane. After washing those blankets, I never wetted bed again. Not even once. So I'm not sure whether it was really the dreams or what, but then the nightmares continued. As in, I will wake up with night terrors to an extent yokuthi I even remember my grandmother sometimes having ukuthi ashunqise impepho ukuthi ukwabona ukuthi no man, maybe there's something in the air or whatever. Of course lo muntu lo, we can't every night nje fanele simamelo abomakhelwane, because I will be screaming for the whole world to hear.
But then your grandmother didn't, the only thing that she would do for you is just to shisimpempo and all that.
Yeah, they will just wake me up and uzo shisimpepho, and nako not always. I think I only saw her do that twice, actually. They'll just wake me up and go like, I'm an walor, go back to bed. That's it.
Yeah.
Not even olorile kaeng, what's wrong? They will just maybe when they are waking you.
Yeah.
Then I will just say, "Khona le motho kae? Re bontsheng." There's no motho. Robala.
So now, after all of that, right? You having nightmares and having to stop bedwetting and all that, where do you go? How far do you go with the questions about your dad and all that stuff?
One day I'm at school. When I'm at school, that day I'm saying is one day la iluguti. I still think to this day uguti actually, because I believe in ancestors. Kona manje. I didn't back then, but manje I do. Uguti, seriously, there must be angels. There's no way somebody can tell me different, because any other how I should be dead. Because there was a day like uguti, I went to school and I decided to mangse school in no man. I remember where a woman, being my mom, was working. And yana no papa, they always hang around the same spot. So if I find where woman was working, I'm gonna find my dad. I decided to run away from school that day.
Okay.
I'm in Mamelodi. Catch a taxi at Deneboom. Got to Deneboom, told the taxi driver that I'm going to my dad, I don't have money. Because basing I carry money. Best tata is captain. Told the taxi driver at Deneboom, my dad did not give me money and I come from school. I have to go home. Home is Soshangove, whatever. The taxi driver believed and put me in his car. And I think I was 11. I was still very young, around Aboma Stinet 1. Then I get off at Ropeni. At Ropeni, they were still okay. If you still remember,
Yeah, okay.
the grocery store,
Yes.
not Lagu shop right today in
Yes.
Church Street. Back
Yes.
then, it was okay.
Yeah.
I got off there by okay. Then I walked like the whole day. Daddy was not in town. I went searching for Daddy.
Sure.
Daddy was nowhere to be found. I went back to Konalapiana, okay, told the same lie to another driver again, who then took me back to Mamelodi, and I got off with PS Kolweni. Now Kolweni, I get beaten. Uguti, where were you? Because now it's after school. Bankrinen exane. I ran from school around 8. Immediately after assembly, I ran. Okay. Now nyashaya uguti, okay, wena muntu. Where were you? And I remember telling my teachers, I went to the cave in the mountains. They were like, you went where? And I was like, I went to the cave, to the mountains, because I knew I would rather be beaten. I was still going to be beaten when I get home, but then I will be beaten better when I say
You were somewhere.
cave.
Yes.
And they might believe because being tandu kambe mahlatin. Yeah, but then if I was to say anything about town, I was not going to get beaten. I was going to get murdered straight. I was going to get killed. Okay. So as a result, that was becoming dangerous until another day, like whatever le being pete no babam wherever he was.
Okay.
He decided ngelinye ilanga to come and stalk us esikolweni until such a day as usibona siphuma, me and my brother. Then he called my brother, mina bengasamazi. He called my brother. My brother recognized him and he was very excited to see him. Then we ran to him. Then when I realized, no man, this is the man
that you were looking for.
I'm looking for. Now I'm super excited. Now the man started ukunyonyoba aza esikolweni, give us a lift, maybe drop us like a section just before we get home. But then my grandmother had people who were spotting us. Like when you're telling people, so Tina, every time, even when you're walking on the street, you're thinking you're walking alone. These houses are actually looking at you. Somebody keeps on reporting everything that you're doing
to your grandmother.
Uzomangala nini nakubuza uthi wena ko A1 we really scared. Wena no loko kai we ra scared and you're surprised ukuthi.
Yeah.
But you were not there.
And in all of this, your grandmother is blocking you from seeing your father because of how your mother passed.
But then we don't know that.
Okay, you were not aware of that by then.
We are not part of that conversation.
Okay. So then how does...
Until such a time that the man started stalking.
Okay.
When he started stalking, somebody tells grandma, Uguti, your son-in-law is actually picking up these people. They're not coming alone there. They are coming with so-and-so.
Sure.
So we got beaten. Immediately after we got beaten, my brother turned against my father.
Okay.
So he was like, I ain't dying for you, man. Mina, I was like, kill me.
Okay.
I am ready. Kill me. Why?
Yeah.
Because I don't understand.
And then how far then do you go with you?
Now kunenkinga yokuthi manje even when bakuza you even go I don't know.
You had that attitude, Yotzi. You know your father is alive.
You know? And that time you're not even asking yourself, Uguti, you've never seen him bringing even maize meal for you. No rice, no nothing. You never saw anything. But then you are dressed, you are warm, you are in school. Free education back then. School fees is paid, your school uniform is always proper. But then,
so your grandmother was responsible for all of those things, just taking care of you 100%?
Yes, all three of us. Okay. Meaning that now my grandmother, you must know, my grandmother has 4 kids. She has 2 boys, 2 girls. Now she lost by this time she had already lost two kids, my grandmother, being her daughters. She's now left with
Two sons.
And she raised her 4 kids alone.
Okay. Now she's raising her grandkids.
Yes, she had 4 kids, raised them alone and put them through school till varsity. She only has graduates. Now she has to go back and redo it again. Kwanja, I'm talking about somebody who has never said more bus as far as I know. And all she does, she's a dressmaker. Uhlala emshinini and ayenzele abantu impahla. Yet our lights were never off. I don't know that because
your grandmother
now
provided.
when my eyes opened, the TV was seated right there.
So when you start throwing tantrums that you want your father, how does that then affect your grandmother and your relationship with her?
Beatings. Beatings okay. Now, kamuntlung ahosaba monate anong because now you now get beaten for even random things.
Okay.
I remember I will get beaten like literally for lahla plastic ya Shoprite checker simply because of tshwantse and sabrotoka jam kamhar. That I get captain sao. They gave it to you for eka yona skolong. Fru bartisa plastic roads and setse captain. When all actually that plastic, you will get beaten like over a plastic.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's like the beatings just got ridiculous to such an extent yokuthi even the wedding ngasendlini manje being say nikusethi kuthomile lemoga hore language ya ka muntu ngarebledisi utshwana kunabantwana bakamalumami esihlala nabo ngasendlini. Then instead of just telling me they will please give your brother amanzi ngase kitchen, I will be told ukuthi ipho umntwana amanzi ubaba khe uyothenga ukudla ukuthi.
Sure. So literally
I'm not gonna give you water I'm gonna give you water and spit in it.
So it was abuse from your mother's house. After your mother's passing, when you moved to your grandmother's house, the abuse continues.
Ukuthi now I don't know what's happening on my sister and
your
brother's side because I'm too consumed. We are all going through it, but I'm too consumed with ukuthi because they seem not to care ukuthi
the treatment injani.
Sifuna babethu. The man is there. So apparently men decided ukuzishaya isibindi and come over to the house, ne? And tell my grandmother ukuthi no, I need a relationship nabantwana bam. I mean, really, you can't do this. I mean, I don't know that. But then it's a story because my sister will give me the truth whenever she's pissed. There's something about my sister. Whenever she something ticks her off, she will then tell me our lives. Actually, the fact, we are born because we are nyanyisa. So there was a time like which she was upset, so she gets to tell me ukuthi ubaba khoge wezala wathi yena wants to have a relationship with us watshela ugogo ukuthi he's gonna come ayosithengela impahla and whatever thina savuka la sageza sachepa sababahle sahlala laphana. We are still la sisemzini yethu, we're still waiting for your dad to arrive.
Sure. And that didn't change your mind about your dad?
No, I don't know that, Mina.
Okay.
Mina, Ubabam has never been anything. He has maybe let me tell you how my father was. My father was somebody who's loved by everybody. Ne? It's like I'm nothing like my father because papa kana rata diaparo. Natla botsore ektranika ektranet kuntogos. He wore nothing if it was not from some Italian shop or from Spitz. All his shoes had to be from Spitz. All his shoes had to have names. It has to be an Egna. That is how I got to know brands. And mind you, he wants to be all branded. He can't brand his kids.
Sure.
Yes.
So did you ever get to a point where you had a relationship with your father?
Yes. When I turned 13, after my 13th birthday, I remember there was a time I decided to I decided to run away to my Rakadi's house, being my paternal grandmother's house. I ran to my daddy's parents' house. When I got there, my grandmother, of course, searched and even tried to open a kidnapping case for them and all of those things. And I
But
was
she
like,
knew where you were.
after some days,
Okay.
because first she searched. She thought I will not be at my paternal grandmother's house because, according to her, I don't know that place.
Okay.
Yeah, but then unfortunately, I decided to yazi abantwana ukuthi abantwana will just land la nawo ungazi khona ukuthi ufike njani la.
Yeah.
So I landed there, but then ngathola ukuthi impatho is not the same. I got to see ukuthi Mr. Man pila sharp.
So it was actually where you it was raining this side and it's pouring on the other side.
Yes, because now when I get to my wazi ukuthi uma ngisuka ngapha ngibaleka is because ngapha I am feeling ukuthi we are not loved because now Tina we don't have parents and everything. Abantu abespecially laba because bona they still have their own parents, they have mothers and fathers, so bona special they get to be given impahla to wear, they have ukudla. I remember for mina ukuthi ngithole ukudla bengikutshontsha. Uyawuzwisisa, and hayi ukuthi besilamba. Uyawuzwisisa, ithi ngikhulume so uyazi izinto as they are seen through amehlo womntwana is not the same as
Through an adult's eyes.
uyawuzwisisa, because umntwana does not see reality, they see what they want to see.
Yes.
Angazi ukuthi understand na. Uyawuzwisisa, my grandmother, as I was saying ukuthi my grandmother azangathi murebus uyahlala ngale uyathunga. Uyawuzwisisa, now she's forced to be now a single mom of 3. She is raising those kids herself. Ukuthi manje uqale kwa ne. Now ngumshini loyana, she has to pay rent, lights have to be on all the time, we have to be dressed fanele sidle, and we never go to bed hungry, ne. But then I love honey, and ikoni honey, where can I have it? I love milk, and khona ubisi, why can't I have it?
You don't realize how much she has to actually do what she's doing.
I'm availing this milk for you so that you can have it for 30 days so that you never lack. You are this healthy and you are never in hospital because I ration your things for a reason.
And she's using things sparingly for you, but as a child you don't understand all of that.
Yes, khona chocolate. Ngibonile chocolate mina in the wardrobe. Umuntu is gonna take the chocolate and then uyabona i-top deck uyihlephula ugogo uyothatha this strip, then athathe this one bar ayihlephule futhi and make it
so that everybody can have a piece.
Then laba bababo no mamabo, they can be able to eat the whole slab. Ayingeni ukuthi umamakhe or babakhe umphile.
They can afford them.
Uyawuzwisisa.
So when you get to your father's side of the family and you realize ukuthi the treatment is not as rosy as you thought it would be, then what happens?
Uma ngifika ngale wazi manje ukuthi ngifika ngale yana ukuthi manje nami ngiyothola a bigger piece of meat, ngiyothola milk, now I'm going to get cheese, I'm going to get honey, all those things. I'm going to get clothes. Now I'm going to be daddy's princess.
Yeah.
Only to find ukuthi no, this side is actually angry because according to them, the reason my mom died. Remember, they are angry because my mom died because
Of this man.
apparently
They are blaming
this
the man.
was beating on her.
Yeah.
Ne? Now you're getting to this side.
Yes.
On this side, my mom died because her mother sent her to bewitch their son. And she failed and she died.
Okay, so that means that even when you get there, the attitude there is going to be, you're a child of a witch.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah,
so you don't get the treatment that you thought you were going to get.
No. And not only was she a witch who failed to kill her husband and died instead, she was that, and she was also feeding abantwana babo rakgadi bam, like bana ba rakgadi aka na ba jesa dijo tsa ho bola.
Sure.
Apparently she will padlock the fridge le di raka le di eng so that bana ba bona ba ska ja.
So when you get there, you're now going to pay for the things which apparently your mother was doing to them.
Yes, ukuthi how mama kho yena ngisho thought ukuthi she is now manje kula tina
Sure.
manje we are supposed to feed her child. Whereas yena.
Then what do you do then in that situation?
And it's not just that. Konje manje I have ubaba wami lo ilukuthi bona his Daddy Bay, loved by the entire township, known Gauteng white. Gwabona best dressed. Gwabona's got women in all sections. Ne? Yet man does not know ukuthi umntwana uyaqoka.
So still, he's abandoning you the same way that he did when you were on your maternal side of the family.
The same pupu that never came to my
Maternal. It's
maternal.
still not coming
It's still not
from
coming
the
to my
paternal.
paternal. Yeah, there's no pupu coming there. There's nothing that he's doing. And Urakadi is unemployed. And Stlala no Rakadi. Rakadi has got 4 kids. She's unemployed. And unlike Gogo, Rakadi, there's nothing coming in.
Sure.
Rakadi opelaka abutimpe 20 rand. Then see.
So when you are an inconvenience, an extra mouth.
Because 20 rand ela bo reka di PCC anathalana le bana ba hae o e tlhalohanya. And my rangwane was still there by then. And he had a wife. But then now, this wife now does not understand because pizza ke ka. Literally.
More mouths to feed now.
So now that causes them to fight. Because Ntweke family house, and now you get to hear words like why abuti sa tse ngwana hae ngwana mmabo na ba kgetsi ntlu bana le
So the rejection for you feels like it's on directions.
Until such a time tsatsi le lengwe when my rakgadi gets tired because the khosna dijo khosna mix no as in much as I have anger issues towards her, but then today, how we level with an adult eye, exactly what were you saying? Well, that woman was pained because she's looking at her kids starving. Then, somebody else
who's not responsible.
Na kontata gena o tsoga ka ekna le di kavela le di o botsa batho mo le re dranika wa tlhalohanya o nwa only di dir mabiala o tlhalohanya no it can't be less than 10 years and whatever single malt what the language
the frustration.
And yena she's supposed to sit
Take
here
care of the child.
and take izinto zabantwana bakhe and give to this one. So one day she decided to say, nope. Wena 20 rand like izotseng ela, wena I'm gonna post you. Put you in bus mola, bus driver, o tla mpholosetsa yena kwa loko social nguve ho fitla mo go so. Wena go geno 24/7. Please don't get lost.
Ha! So she's sending you to your father's house now?
I think by then I was going towards Boma 14.
Okay.
I was going towards 14. I was almost 15. How? okay, fine. Yimi loyana manje, ngiyahamba, ngiyohlika ibhasi kuphi?
It's your father's house.
At my father's house. Mangifika at my father's house, ngithola ukuthi there's this woman so beautiful. She looks like a model. She looks like a model, yellow bone, thick idile, mola and everything. Okay, fine. I can have tata, nakitile high.
So this house that you're going to is the same house that your mother bought?
Yes.
Okay.
Ne? Okay, this woman is sitting there now. Msadio is like angry and everything. My father now comes home from wherever he was. Otswere kuranta. You heard how I described my father. Hatsena otswere kuranta. Iphutile maotwana. We no get mo. Meaning damano tlhoreka maotwana 5 rand. I don't know if you understand.
For whom?
For an alim said yeah hi.
Okay.
He's not expecting me there. So otswere shebo sabona sa that day yana le dali. Hore, I mean, okay, you're not maintaining your kids. You're not helping anybody with anything. The least you can do is just buy proper grocery for your own house, for your own fridge.
Yes, but still, even there, you're failing.
It's sputhelwana mo sa maotwana 5 ranta tshwere maotwana ka mo like maotwana nyana ao ba wa phuthetse yung ka re setlhare sa Sotho ka kuranta le malana hona ka mtlasa le half. Ha tsena mo le o teng and then ke re ba ra khadi ba itse ke tla hae was re now they can't do that. He was bully, my father. Well, now they can't do that and whatever not. Ba irang khwasereng. Then the wife decides to call him to the side and being and you're excited because my father could do nothing like excited a celebrity. That was me,
Your
my
dad.
father.
He could never do wrong in your eyes.
Never.
Okay,
Never.
I think we're going to have to cut it because
Okay.
we're running out of time now. I
right.
think we're definitely going to have to come back and do a part 2
Okay.
of like just a continuation of your story. But in closing, I just want you to touch on, for the part 1, right?
Okay.
Or what did the rejection do to you? So that like after you just telling us because I really want it to be some sort of like a lesson learned, from what you've shared with us so far, in as much as we know that we're still going to do a part 2. But I just want you to share with us how the rejection affected you in closing.
Okay. I think in order for me to tell you that is to finish off this story so that you can see how that affected me.
Okay.
Ukuthi, because of excitement, when this woman decided to call my father to the kitchen, I did not know ukuthi ufuna ukuhleba. I was like, when ngwana ale laugh and then no sala batho ba bagolo morao. Then I just ngagulugudela nje, I don't know how to say it in English, into the kitchen. Then that woman was sitting at the thekgile ka raka e saleng raka ke mme wa ka nkana. It was still raka ya maka nako wa di hopela tsela tsa chipi tsa o credile yellow tsa bo blood and all. O te thekgile ka yona. Are nanga se khone hore ke tlhokomele ngwana msadi o mong.
Sure.
Wa ka ngwana ba mo tlhokomela ko gae.
Yo.
That caused me ukuthi ngibaleke from yena. Mangbalega, a friend of mine from Konalapo, because I had already befriended. Abantwana, I don't know how kids, till to this day, I don't know how that happened, because there was our neighbor right there who was the same age as me. I told him, go to ekhaya bangifuni. And he was like, no, don't worry. Then I went to her house. I stayed at her house, I think, for 2 weeks. Ubaba ke no mama ke bangazi ukuthi ngikhona ngasendlini.
Sure.
By the time ubaba ke no mama ke found out ukuthi they've got me in the house, then the father decided to go confront my father. Yes, ngiyakubona always and everything. I've never heard you saying you're missing a child. Where's your child? Then my father was like, I don't know. And he was like, how you don't know where your child is? But you do have a daughter, right? And my father was like, yes. And that man was like, no, daughter, your child is at my house for 2 weeks. You don't know where your child is. And they ended up fighting, and it was a big hoo-ha. My father put me in a car. He was very pissed. He was very pissed. He put me in a car, and he was driving at such a high speed, as in Uti, he does not mind if that car can just collide and capsize or anything. He was driving where? To Mamelodi. To do what? To dump me. He drove into Mamelodi, afitla ko Madlangi daman abula koloi, and said, get out of my car.
Sure.
He dumped me ko Madlangi.
Yo, guys, yeah, this is this definitely has to be an ongoing story. There's no way we can't have a part 2 to this, because I would love to know. I believe our viewers as well would love to know what then happened after she was dumped, because this story is long, But I would like to say thank you so much for now, for today. This is where we're going to end it. A big shout out to Send Studios for always being our home, hosting us for all the episodes that we've done so far for the podcast. And thank you so much to our guest for being here, for sharing with us for today. I do believe that we're going to have a part 2, right?
Definitely we must.
Yes, we're going to pick up where we left off, and then we're going to take it from there, because I still feel like there's a lot that there's a lot that we have not yet covered.
Yes, because it won't make sense until they hear the
ending of it.
The ending of it.
Yeah.
Because my gift actually for Mina, I believe Uguti, it is connected to the rejection.
Yeah.
Because somehow I doubt Uguti I will be gifted.
Yeah.
I doubt Uguti umoya buzophakama kimi if it was not for the rejection
that you faced.
And I also doubt ukuthi had it not been for the rejection bengizoba ne-bipolar or any of the ailments enginazo. Uyawuzwisisa?
No, I hear you. So for us to get to the part where she's gifted and just the journey in general, we're going to get to that on part 2. So for now, we have to leave it here. I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you on the next upload. Bye.